Hi guys, this is Jack with Team Empire, and today we are covering the new Lyrical Monestario ride line for Lyrical Set 4. That is the Fennelle ride line, focusing on a new order card called Trick or Treat. It's been a while since we talked about Lyrical. I miss the powerful and friends upgrades, which is kind of a shame because they look to be pretty good. However, I'll probably cover those in a deck test once the set's about to come out in Japan, so that you can see what I'm going to do with those decks. But I am here to cover the new ride lines, and the first one being the Fox Girl ride line. And it looks to be pretty interesting. It's kind of like a Gravidia for Lyrical. So the first card we have is the starter, which is Hop and Step Fennel. It is just an average starter. It just doesn't... It's fine. It doesn't really do that much. You can just play anything here, especially since the rest of the ride lines require it. Now we'll go over the grade 1, which is Where Her Own Charm Is, Fennel. It says auto, when this unit is placed by riding from a grade 0, look at top 7 cards of your deck, choose up to 2 Trick or Treats, reveal them and add them to your hand and shuffle your deck. So for those of you who don't know, Trick or Treat is her special order card, which you can play up to 16 of them, very similar to Neatness Meteor Shower, and is a normal order. So being able to add 2 of them from top 7, you're likely to find at least 1. So it's nice that this effect does basically add a +2 to your hand upon ride. Next up, we have the grade 2, which is going to look very familiar. It is called Smile As Is, Fennel, and it has the exact same effect as the grade 1, where it says when it's placed by riding from a grade 1, you look at top 7 cards, add up to 2 Trick or Treats from your deck to your hand, and then shuffle the deck. So it's again good. Like, it thins order cards out of your deck, which what you want to do with this deck. And now we're going to go over, before we go over the order, we'll actually go over the grade 3 for the deck, which is Triple Trick Fennel, who has the effect Continuous Vanguard Circle. During your turn, you can play 3 orders, but cannot play orders other than Trick or Treat or Regalis pieces. And it has the effect auto, when this unit attacks, if you have played 3 or more orders this turn, cost Counterblast 1, choose one of your rear guards, that unit and this unit get critical +1 until end of turn, and for each Trick or Treat in your drop zone, all of your front row units get plus 2k power until end of turn. So overall, this seems like a really good effect, especially since the fact that Trick or Treat does draw additional cards. Being able to play 3 of them, you can technically get like a +3 into your hand, which is very nice, along with like reviving some units. Along with that, this can scale pretty hard. Like if you have all 16 orders in your drop when you use that effect, your front row is getting plus 32k, which is a lot. Unfortunately, this deck does not have any multi-attack, so I guess to compensate for that, you do give 2 of your units a crit, which can be pretty dangerous later in the game. Looking forward to see what people do with this. Obviously, a main problem with this deck that I see right now is that space is going to be very tight, since you do want to play at least 12 orders. I don't know if you want to play all 16, but it seems like this deck really does benefit from having 16 orders in your deck. But yeah, the grade 3 seems pretty great. Now we're going to go over the Trick or Treat, or Trick and Treat. I've been saying Trick or Treat this whole time, but just know if I say Trick or Treat, it's Trick and Treat. It is a normal order with actually 2 arts, which is kind of cool. It's not going to have the same problems as the Neatness Meteor Shower, where it's like just only 1 version of that card in the set, so it was very hard to get back in set 3. But this one has 2 arts. Very cool. This says continuous. You can put up to 16 Trick or Treats in a deck, which we already talked about. Play this if you have a Vanguard with Fennel and its card name, and perform one of the following based on how many times you played an order with the same name as this card this turn. 1 time, your opponent chooses one of their rear guards, and you may put it on the bottom of their deck. If they did not put, you draw a card. 2 times, draw a card and countercharge 1. And 3 times, choose up to 1 grade 3 or less card from your drop and call it to rear guard circle. So, unfortunately, you don't get all 3 of the effects if you play your 3rd one, but you do get to choose any of them. So it's kind of nice that you can have versatility with this deck. Being able to like bottom deck a lot of your opponent's stuff can be really good against certain matchups, being able to countercharge because this deck does use quite a bit of CB, or being able to revive if you're facing something like Gravidia. Unfortunately though, you'll only be able to do that one time. But based on the fact that you can play 3 orders in a turn, that's a lot of value accumulated with this one order card that can constantly replace itself, and it's also very searchable. So I think this is a very good order that helps a lot with the deck, and I'm glad that you can play 3 of it, or else this order card will be pretty bad. Now we have the support cards. One of them is a double rare, which is called Haunted Spot. Ilistana, who has the effect auto. When this unit is placed on Rickard Circle during your main phase, if you play 3 or more orders this turn, cost Soul Blast 1, choose a normal unit with a different name from this unit from your drop and call it to Rickard Circle. Then auto Rickard Circle. When this unit's attack hits a Vanguard, search your deck for up to 1 Trick or Treat, reveal it, add it to your hand, and shuffle your deck. So this is very nice to place down on turn 2, have a little bit of hit pressure on your opponent. Your opponent more than likely does not want you to get that free Thin. In fact, that effect is very similar to the Gravidia Cat that was played in set 4 format. And that other effect is really good too. Again, against a deck like Gravidia, it's basically a Spiritual Body Condensation because you can call up anything from your drop, as long as you have played 3 or more orders, which should be pretty easy in this deck. But yeah, there's nothing much to say here. It's a really good effect. Now we have the triple rare. I guess we're going back to like Lyrical getting a triple rare for each of their new ride lines. It is a grade 1 with 8k power, Blank Explorer Crispina, who has the effect auto. When this unit is placed on Rickard Circle, cost Counterblast 1, search your deck or drop for up to 1 Trick or Treat, reveal it, add it to your hand. If you search your deck, shuffle your deck. Then continue with some Rickard Circle. During your turn, if your drop has 3 or more Trick or Treats, this unit gets plus 5k power. So nice 13k booster, or even an even bigger attacker if you use Fennel's effect and give this unit a crit, which is pretty nice. And on top of that, this is the reason why I think you don't have to play 16 orders. You could probably play like 12, 13, because this does search for 1. But because if you do play all 16, your deck space is going to be really tight. But because this card recovers it from drop, it's actually easier to play your 3 orders every single turn. And yeah, it is another CB, but this deck does actually have a countercharger, which is its order that it searches. So it effectively searches a countercharger, which is really nice. Yeah, not much to say here. Just a really good effect. And I don't know if I even mentioned this. I haven't mentioned this yet. You can actually use this card early. You can just plop it down and Counterblast 1, immediately thin your deck for 1 Trick or Treat, allowing you to try and drive check more triggers in the late game. So overall, a very nice card, and a card I like a lot. Now, the last card we have is actually a generic card, but it does work best in Fennel, at least right now, which is One Night Witch Straja, who is the set 11 triple rare for Lyrical. So it says when this card is placed on Rickard Circle other than by a unit card's ability, if you played a normal order this turn, cost Soul Blast 1, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 card with grade less than or equal to your Vanguards from among them, reveal it, call it to Rickard Circle if it's a unit card, and put it into your hand if it's a normal order, and shuffle your deck. And then auto Rickard Circle, when this unit's attacks, a grade 3 or greater unit, if it was placed this turn, cost Counterblast 1, draw a card, and this unit gets plus 10k power. So not only in Fennel do I think this is really good, because as soon as you play your Trick or Treat, you can call this and then use its effect to check top 5 and try and call a unit card, since I was just saying how this deck might not have that many units, so having a card that can search another unit is very nice. And you can just revive it for that second effect to be a really big attacker later on in the game, being able to draw extra cards and get plus 10k power. But another deck I think this card is amazing in is Lutetia. Lutetia is a deck that hasn't really gotten a lot of support recently, but this card was like made for that deck. The moment you play your order card, I forgot which one it is, I think it's the Sugar Sparkle, the one that soul charges 1, then calls a card from soul. You can call this off that card's effect, and then you can use this card's effect to soul blast any excess cards from your soul to check top 5 and try to find your Nostrias to call those to Rickard Circle, then use Nostrias to thin your deck even more and have an even bigger attacker for that turn, having extra draw power. It just feels really good in Lutetia as well, since that deck also revolves around having orders. But that's pretty much it for the actual cards. I was thinking about some cards that might work in Fennel, and I think one of them, I don't remember her name, let me know if you remember her name, but there's this card from, I think it's Lyrical Set 1, I think it's either a rare or a common. It's a grade 3 that says, when it's placed, you may play an additional order that turn. So not only off Fennel's effect do you get to play 3 orders, but you also get to use that card if you call it and play a 4th order, so you can take advantage of Trick or Treat's additional effects one more time. Just a little interaction I thought of. Let me know if I'm like right about that or I'm wrong about that, and let me know its name, because I cannot find its name, since Lyricals is one of the nations where I cannot remember a lot of their names to save my life. But that's pretty much it for Fennel. Let me know what you think about Fennel in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.